Hello everyone, I hope you had a fantastic half term and that your children have had a good week back in school. It's been wonderful seeing them again and seeing them enjoying getting back into their learning across the week. We've had a few changes here, of course, which you'll know about, mainly to do with the lunch provision, because we made the decision to move the lunches for the various year groups back into the school. Now, the important thing here was to be able to do this safely, and we've done this by the lower school going into the dining room. So that's being cleaned, and the provision for the seating and so on works perfectly well in there. And then for years 7 to 11, they're now in the CMA, and our caterers have done a wonderful job to set everything up so that we can have 2 servings each lunchtime, one for the year 7, 8, 9 bubble and one for the year 10 and 11 bubble. Now, which bubble goes in first depends on what they're doing in their co-curricular activities at lunchtime, but we found we can get each of the bubbles through the dining room quickly, and it means that we have plenty of time in between to ventilate the room and to clean it and ensure that all health and safety aspects of coronavirus are preserved. And from the pupils I've spoken to, they feel this is working well for them, they're enjoying it, and I'm going to be very interested to see the feedback we get from you as parents in this week's survey. I haven't seen the results of that yet, but that will be carefully looked at and will also be shown to the parent voice group who will discuss that ahead of the meeting they're going to have with the leadership team later this month. It's always a very good opportunity when we have the meetings with Parent Voice to go through any concerns or questions you have and to ensure that the dialogue we really want to encourage between parents and the school continues as well as possible. There have been a few other changes this week based on the new government guidelines. There wasn't a great deal in it for schools. This came out on Wednesday afternoon. The only substantial thing really as far as we were concerned was that staff in the senior school now all have to wear masks as they go around the corridors. Now many staff are already doing this, but this is now mandatory. And in fact, we anticipated that earlier in the week, and all staff are doing that. Another change is that the lower sixth have been brought into the school in the mornings. We found a room where they can socially distance and come into the school. And obviously with the changing weather, we've had very much an eye on the need for people to be able to keep warm. So the whole situation with the marquees will need to be kept under review. It would be really good to find a way of organising things such that we don't need the marquees at all, but we haven't got to that point yet. So a lot going on, and another thing very much in our focus at the moment is the whole question of public exams next summer. The government said on Wednesday they reiterated their intention for these to be held as normal, albeit a bit later. And we'll have to see whether they hold with that position. But our focus is to make sure that the teaching and learning that goes on with the exam groups is as good as it normally is, and that our pupils feel comfortable and ready for anything that might happen. One aspect of this is the whole question of mock examinations and assessment across the year, because depending on how the coronavirus situation develops, we have to bear in mind that there is a possibility that the government would change its position and would then fall back on asking schools for centre assessment grades again. So all that's very much in our thinking, and I hope your sons and daughters are feeling confident with the learning they're getting, and we're continuing to find that because of the excellent remote learning provision from last term, that we're not finding too many gaps in student learning. So we look forward now to Remembrance Sunday. Obviously, this is going to be a bit different this Sunday from normal, but what we will do in the school on Wednesday next week is have a service at 11 o'clock to mark the 2 minutes silence. We'll have some pupils playing the last post, and we'll mark Armistice Day in that way. So I look forward to talking to you again next week. Have a great weekend, and thanks very much for listening.